they, them from Iowa, who says, given that people are becoming more confrontational and doing their best to be as offensive as possible, do we push back at all of them or ignore them? Dee, tell us about this question.
Hi, guys. It's really good to talk to you again.
Hi.
So, hearing from you.
What I wanted to, hey, guys. What I wanted to do, first of all, is take the burden off your shoulders, Sofia. And you and Christy are so gracious and in the face of pure dipshittery. Remind us what grace is. Do not cut Clark any slack. He was on Truth Wanted on Friday and did the exact same thing. He's done the exact same thing every time I've heard him. So he's not just getting frustrated. That's what he calls to do. So don't worry. I will say it for you. He was an asshole, and thank you for dealing with him as you did.
Yeah, I know we certainly appreciate that, or I do. I worked at a psychiatric hospital and a 24-hour crisis hotline before doing any of this work, so I feel like I can be pretty unflappable. But it does sort of raise the question of, how much slack do we give, not because of our own mental health and well-being, which is a valid question and one we should all be asking ourselves routinely as we interact with the internet and family members around some of these hot button issues and whatever else. But also, like, cui bono? Like, who benefits from these conversations? Is it worthwhile? Is anybody's life made better because we sit there and endure certain forms of abuse? Or if we are willing to entertain a argument that is just sort of insulting in its premises? And I don't think it's a universal resounding no. I do think that there's value in giving people some space to tire themselves out, some space to express themselves. But yeah, increasingly it does seem like we are in a culture where outrage seems to be the objective. And, who benefits from enduring all of that?
Yeah, I feel like for me, it's been very helpful to be on this show in many ways, because I can say I'm going to engage with arguments here, but I don't have to engage with them in every aspect of my personal life if I think someone's just trying to run me down or waste my time. I think that for me, I have over time developed a lot of moments of just like, I don't really agree. Just a lot of little like, just moving on. Like, I'm going to note my objection here because I that's part of my values, to like note that not everyone agrees with that. But also not really invite more conversation, in some instances. I think there's so many, we got to keep up our energy. We got to take care of ourselves. It's a long road, man. And that's part of how I deal with it. Started journaling a lot more. But I also, what I realize more and more is people try to, when they're trying to get a rise out of someone or they're trying to argue in bad faith, they want oftentimes to actually cause you some kind of pain, and that it can feel like a win if you let them. But I think that that's arguing on their terms. I think that for me, I don't want to be unkind. I don't want to be nasty. And as funny as it can be to say little things like, that person is a dipshit, like in my heart, I want them to be better than they are. And I believe that that's possible for them too. And so it's a deep irony for me that a lot of the folks who try to upset me personally tend to come from a faith that they argue makes them more moral than I am. And it's this, in this weird, maybe bittersweet way, I can look at it and just be like, at least I'm being Christ-like, and sort of just hold that to myself as this personal joke and satisfaction. I was joking the other day, though, we had a gathering of, with the ACA, we had a gathering, like a women's group, and we were talking about how to deal with things. And I said, well, just working out to exercise internal rage. It's not all placidity,
There you go. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm I like to debate biblical. I like to debate with the Bible. I like to turn the Bible around on the bigots and the the misogynists and the homophobes and that's something that I have found that I'm good at. So I still study the Bible a lot, and people like Tomas, I really appreciate debating with because they're honest debaters. They're not haters, and they're not using their faith to justify hate. And I was just so struck by the the contrast between the two callers. But then Tomas, showed that he's still very much a believer too. And I was glad that you guys still challenged him on that. And I thought I just wanted to, I guess maybe I just wanted to more comment on the two sides of what I saw from you guys today, and I just am spending more time studying because I want to make more content, and I want to start making content, and I just really appreciate listening to folks like you, Sofia, and Christy, and the rest of the ACA folk, and it's always a privilege to be chosen to talk with you as well. So thank you guys for what you do, and I'm here for you. If you need a shoulder to cry on.
Yeah, I know, and you're in the Discord too, so I love that.
Epistemology
yeah. And I think that it's studying the Bible, like I still do that as well, because I do think it's important to know, in the cold open, I referenced a Bible verse that I remember being a Christian and looking at the verse that says, question everything, keep what is good, and being like, why is no one looking at this one, and feeling frustrated by that.
Yeah.
And I think that a question that I've started to wonder about a little bit, because I am at a Christian university. I think there's one other person who's actually says they are an atheist at that entire school that I've met. A couple of people say they're like spiritual or non-religious, but for the most part, fairly conservative Christian. And I think a question I've started wondering and putting out there, not putting people on the spot so much, just sort of announcing during class, it's a question I have. If you hold beliefs that I would consider homophobic, transphobic, bigoted in some way, sexist, racist, whatever it might be, and you are using your faith to justify that, if I could show you that your faith did not support it, would it be easy for you to let those beliefs go? Like, what is behind these that isn't from the faith?
Are we homophobic because of the faith, or are we homophobic in justifying it via the faith?
Yeah. And of course, the immediate answer is, of course I would. Like, and of course, contending that they're not actually homophobic and all these things, right? But I think that at least it's valuable to put that question out there. Like, I believe it's possible. It's forcing an underlying question that we're not always reaching when we debate. So it's become one that I lean on a little more.
Yeah. Well, I found that the most homophobic people are the ones that say, well, I have friends that are gay. But
yeah, I mean, just
anyway,
that experience of othering. I hear that.
Yeah,
exactly.
No, I think that that's often the case. I always wonder what the perspective of those gay friends would be on that. And I also feel like having any kind of friendship is not justification for a belief. It's interesting that people will say, I have friends who are gay, so I can't be homophobic. And then kind of on the other hand say, well, I have friends who believe differently than I do. And it's like, so perhaps you have homophobic beliefs and one of your friends is gay, and therefore you just have a friend who believes differently than you do, in the sense that you're homophobic and they're not. Like it's kind of an interesting, like, I don't know. It's a way to put the weight of justifying their bigotry on the people that they say should be their friends in spite of it, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
So
we definitely appreciate all of the support, Dee, and you kind of holding that line with us, and standing up to bullies and bigots.
yeah. So we have another
Appreciate you
call we're going to
calling in.
jump to, but thank you so much for calling, and we always love hearing from you. Bye, T.